Another couple of weeks from our grand end to our another ETF2L season. It is feeling more like a marathon than a race as time draws by, but we are still pumping out those very, very important games between two very impressive teams. Tonight, you'll be watching with me, TurboTabs, and Dum, and Beta of Rakuzan versus Electro, Week 5. Dum. This is a massive matchup. Do you agree?
Yes, definitely. This could decide a lot for these teams. I think the tables were up for a long time. I don't know if they're still up on the screen, but these teams are close in placings 5th and 6th in the tables, right next to each other. Both of these still have a decent chance to make the playoffs if they just keep on getting good results from now on. And both of them coming from high last season, make it into Prem, having improved quite a bit, I must say. And this could be a very close game still.
Yeah, these are the sort of matches that are going to make or break a playoff for one of these two teams. As I know we're looking at the points right now, we're seeing some of these tables, but we don't really know which teams have already played against the Magnificent Two of Ascent versus 7 as well. So maybe they've already taken care of those games and they've got those ETF12 points despite that, or maybe they've still got to swallow that pill coming up. But either way, I can't iterate how important this game is tonight, and that's why I even brought up we all brought up the ETF2L tables just before in the little pre-game before we went live. But if we're going to talk about these two teams, Dum, we're going to have to we're going to have to say who's exactly on them, and I've actually got some reports for you right now. So if Beta just kind of full screens me for just a moment there, I will start loading up those bad boys. Pick a team, any team, Dum, and I will grant you your wish.
Let's start with Rakuzan.
Rakuzan. Oh god, they're right at the bottom. Okay, give me but a moment. Alright, we should be seeing some wonderful gamers and their airshot counters any moment now. But if you can give me just a classic roster rundown in case some of the stream magic hasn't worked at home for the boys and girls.
Well, it's up for me, and we can see the roster is as follows. Ace on Medic, Demos on Demoman, 30 on Soldier, as well as Ruff, and 3 and Pyrrhus, which Pyrrhus has been swapped out as time went on, and Scruff has replaced him again from the original lineup of the team.
Now, I know everyone's looking at me like, Turbo, these are god-awful reports, but listen to me, Twitch chat, before you start firing off your memes, okay? Ace was replaced by Raptor, but we only had one sort of week of Raptor stats to work with, and I didn't think it would look kind of nice just to have Raptor's stats of him getting destroyed by 7 up there, so maybe not really worth putting up there. So we're going to keep Ace up on that little bar chart. Another little note as well, Gotti is actually marked as a Roma, and so is Raf, because their stats have just been so low throughout the season that they've been considered as 2 Romas as well, which is another little, I guess, Easter egg to these reports. And again, Piers and Scruff, the Scruff coming in recently, not as many stats, yada yada yada, we've all been here before. Anyway, let's head on to hopefully a more complete report of a Electro, if I just kind of awkwardly scroll over here. Entertain yourselves, just a moment. There we go, alright. So here we have Electro, we have Kelvin on Medic, Jimbot on Demoman, Callum on Pocket Soldier, Jinx will be playing Scout along with his buddy Nevo, or Nevo, however you want to call him, and Azunis will be playing that roaming soldier. A very controlled team. We were talking about it a little bit before the cast got started, and we all agreed that this team is just a definition of just controlled, patient, almost careful gameplay. I mean, isn't that right, Dum?
Yeah, they're definitely not afraid to pull out the off-classes. Nevo, a really capable sniper. Zulis has shown time and time again that he can wrap his French flag on the spy with some really great plays and just really good ability to stay alive and get out of situations after he has done the play. So that is definitely something worth looking out for on Electro's side of things.
Now, while we talk a bit more about these two teams, I will bring up some additional reports, but let's talk about the maps tonight, Dom, and just these play styles of these two teams and how it's going to work into it now. Do you think, because we're playing at week 5, we've got the mention, the big map in the pool that is Product, the one that kind of makes all these teams quiver with fear and kind of unsure about what's going to happen, because it is quite the wild card. Do you think this sort of map leans itself to any one of these two teams tonight?
I do want to say that our Electro on Product should have the upper hand from at least a little bit of information that I have. They have a lineup that seems to be able to adapt to that map really well, whereas from what I've seen from Rakuzan so far on Product over the last 1 or 2 months, it's not been looking that strong on Product. They've struggled against a couple of teams on the map, really struggled against snipers, which we talked about a little bit. Nevo has shown some good stuff on the sniper class before. I don't know if he will do that on Product as well, since we haven't seen him here yet, but it wouldn't surprise me, and that could definitely be a big factor.
Now, this team is still quite fresh-faced. A lot of people watching tonight might not have even heard of many of these names, but is Nevo really one of those snipers that can take control of a game? We saw a great performance coming out from Credo a couple of days ago, where that kid was just firing off headshots like it was no tomorrow. Is he that sort of sniper, or is he just kind of just a slight tone shift instead?
I think he definitely wants to be the sort of flashy sniper. He's maybe not quite the caliber of Credo, but he can get there over time, I do want to say. There's always these two sort of snipers. The one just really passive, careful one, maybe doesn't get as many shots, but hits the ones he needs to. And then you have these flashy snipers like Flash and Credo that just go in and try to hit as many shots as they can.
Well,
and we have a ready up sound.
Yeah, we've talked so much about Product, we never got a chance to go over Snakewater, which will be our first map. Please pardon me, but you'll just have to watch the action unfold, and enough of our banter, our chatter. It is time for our first map. It is Snakewater, baby. It is Rakuzan versus Oro Electro, and is that an aggressive jumping from Demo straight off? Oh,
I think the first thing I mentioned,
is
that as soon as it's in spec, I don't know what happened there, he left the server at the moment the game started. So that shouldn't help the game starting, really.
These players are testing me. Dumb, god damn it. Okay, well, false start. We can maybe have a quick touch upon Snakewater while they're trying to gather themselves.
Well, one thing I do see before the game goes live is that there's one Frenchie missing and another one replacing him, as Raf isn't on the server, and he's been absent for a few days. Olga's here to take his place today and play on the Roma class. Yeah. I'm not even sure. You were saying this gets really weird.
Yeah, it's the double Roma.
Yeah, they have really aggressive soldiers.
Yeah, very reminiscent of like an AMS team back in the day. But yeah, that's quite a very important factor. You'd think we'd notice that. We're staring so much at these reports, Tom. We're not looking in-game at the actual players playing. Oh, I do feel a bit red-cheeked right now, but Olga, he has been showing his head like a couple of times in this Premiership season. Proved himself actually on the medic class as well as a soldier in a few of these runs, and he's a competent player. He must know what he's doing if teams keep picking him up like this. So I'm kind of eager to see if he's a positive force. But okay, we're really here now, guys. We really are starting Snakewater. It is Oro Electro versus Rakuzan, and the first thing I see on mid is just nothing. Nobody's taking the first quick plunge into Snakewater. Quite uncharacteristically, everyone's going to kind of play it patiently, quiet. Here's the first big bomb in, coming in from Gotti, and he's going to get right on top of Jimbot, take him out quickly, and even get a bit of damage extra to boot as well. And the follow-up is swift and clean from the rest of Rakuzan, and they're going to keep chasing this dump.
Yeah, they waited patiently for the first jump. And Snakewater can be really slow or really fast. We had a little bit of both teams just feeling each other out. Rakuzan immediately jumping in when they saw an opening, and the soldiers did good work with everybody else just following up really well. Still though, Kelvin did manage to survive and had somebody to build Uber with on his way out as well, as the Jinx was with him the entire time. So defense will be decently set up. There's a sentry on top of the Uber charge to defend themselves from whatever Rakuzan's plan is, and they now need to find some sort of pick or any sort of advantage in the situation to make some moves.
Yeah, so usually teams will turn to just throwing a player in, and there we go. Right on schedule, Gotti will throw himself in. He does get a nice bit of damage and actually drops Kelvin. Wow, I'm actually a little shocked there. I was so checked out of that not working dumb that I didn't believe it when I saw it.
Well, Gotti gladly proves you wrong with that one drop. Azul is pick late as well, wanting to do something about the situation, but Raptor stays safe. And Sniper on the field, we mentioned Nevo Jinx with his American 130 ping, still wants to pick up the sniper rifle, and it works. One player down on the push helps a little bit, might slow them down if they want to wait, or they go in with 5. We'll see them go in now with 5.
Yep, they're going in, taking advantage while they've got it. They actually do drop Olga during all of this as well, so that little fight has actually turned into a 4v6 at this point. And what damage have they really got to rely on? They've only got Swede, they've only got Demos, and Demos is actually going to get cleaned up by these soldiers. They do try and pressure the point, maybe. That was maybe one way to kind of turn this last point, clusterfuck at this point in the game, and no, the spawners are coming in thick and fast, and Scruff will pay the price.
Yeah, Jinx sniper picks just helped so much. 2 people down just stopped so much of the potential aggression. 4 people alone on the Uber wasn't enough. There were weak players on Electro, but that wasn't enough, as they want to move out to second, but Rakuzan hasn't given up hope yet. And 8 trade players here, they still want to contest it. Caleb jumps in deep, gets a pick, so just keeps spamming it out of grass, and this should seal the deal for now.
Synergy's kind of almost like a second off there, in my opinion, Dom. Things were, for both teams really, Jinx was taking the point by himself, and the backup did arrive, but it was just a little too late to keep his life, and the counter-aggression was just a bit staggered over on Rakuzan as well. They will exchange Ubers out, whilst all things have gone off during the stalemate, and I think we've got a pause here.
Yeah, really early one as well. So that was interesting. Both teams just kind of stared at each other, admit that somebody just dealt enough damage to the medics to post them early. None of these Ubers really close to each other. Jumbot in technical trouble, realistically, not so much. Demos is looking at him, not firing at him. Callum will maybe eat a sticky, but should be able to get away. More importantly, Kelvin is super weak. He took so much damage before the Uber didn't take the pack on his way out. So if somebody manages to just get in quickly, the scouts on their way, no soldier really in position. So if one of these scouts is just really fast and survives both Azunis and Nevo, they could easily deal the little bit of damage needed to clean up Kelvin here.
Yeah, you do see the Rakuzan scouts kind of eyeing up Jimbot, and I don't know, it depends if the scouts are brave enough, and it depends if Jimbot is savvy enough to make this turnaround. I mean, if you have 2 players entering one tiny doorway chasing you, I imagine any demo man can make that turnaround kill. And again, a lot of possibilities. It does keep me on the edge of my seat, but in the first few minutes that I've been watching the game so far, Dom, has there been any sort of expectations that have been met, or has anybody sort of surprised you so far?
Jinx has. He played Sniper before, but immediately the moment he picked it up on this game, just turning it up, getting 2 quick picks that definitely had a lot of impact. Normally on Sniper you want to get the higher pick classes for a last point, a medic or a demo man, but he just picked up the safe picks. As we mentioned, you can be a flashy sniper or just a slow controlled sniper, and he definitely just picked up what he could, and quantity over quality in this case, just clean up everybody else and help your team out that way.
Yeah, it was a nice bit of game sense coming from him as well, because as they were actually making those pushes into last, they popped in the Uber, and he knew that one of the roaming soldiers over on Oro Electro were going to, I say one of them, but the only roaming soldier over on Rakuzan, I should say, would have came through a different doorway, and he got that snipe very cleanly, very expectedly, read him like a book, and from there it just kind of snowballed. Very, very nice play to watch. We're going to have to reminisce on a lot of gameplay, it seems, Dumb, because this is just no simple pause.
Yeah, long pauses are always unfortunate. I'm trying to imagine who this might be, and we had earlier in the week, I think it was Sui with internet trouble, so that's my pick. If not, then the safest second pick is the American with just too high ping eventually becoming maybe a little bit unplayable.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons things can go down here. I mean, having a myriad of entire reasons for games to kind of slow down, but it's okay. Our game will not falter. We've gotten quite used to this at this point. It's why we have the pause function, and it's why we almost have things prepared to say as we get into the thick of it. Alright, Snakewater. I never really got into proper predictions, Dom, as well, and you do know I love a good prediction, so tell me, right, the entire points, everything, round. I want to know what these players are thinking and feeling. I want every single prediction coming out of you, Dom. What is going to happen on this Snakewater match?
I think that our Electro can take this. I mentioned pre-game, before the cast went live, that Rakuzan have some weird stuff on mid. They managed to get away with it this time around, but I don't know if they can keep that up. The mid-fight was a really slow start, and if our Electro just finds a quicker answer, this could end really badly quickly for Rakuzan in future mid-fights. And yeah, I think our Electro has the ability to adapt to that and be able to exploit those mistakes.
If you asked me before, Dom, before we saw the Olga swap out between Raf, I probably would have said Rakuzan. But with that Raf factor being dropped in, and I mean, Olga's good. He's clearly demonstrated that he can play at a Prem level before in the past, but he's not quite, you know, that reassurance that he's been in those team talks, or he definitely knows what everyone else is going to do on his team, or you know, these sort of pre-made plans. If you're playing with a Merc, you have to play almost a little bit differently how you would usually as an entire unit team, and I feel like Raf is a big brain for them to miss in this lineup, so I think I'm going to have to agree with you. The Oro Electro win for the Snakewater match, at the very least.
Well, I wouldn't rule out this entirely for Rakuzan, especially not solely because of Olga. He played with them, a couple of them, so he has some experience with them, and so far they're definitely doing fine on that. And pause ended, gameplay resumes. Kelvin stays safe on our took a pack eventually, so he's alive, but Rakuzan still aggressing forward, getting one pick onto the Zunis, but quickly I would like to with the response, and now they're stuck in an awkward position where they have weak players and are still relatively far forward.
Yeah, it's a shame as well, because they did quite a bit of space making with those sort of bombs and deaths. That you could see that they were on the back foot as they were covering.
He wants the demo pill, cleans up Jimbot, and that is what will change this, as somebody who was the Jinx went down earlier as well, overextended into the entirety of the players on Rakuzan's side, so suddenly the tables have turned.
Whew, that was a good plan B, Dom. I was a little worried for the boys in red, but they made the turnarounds eventually, and that's all that matters, as Olga does quickly spam out that sentry gun, so that defense is taken away from Oro Electro now, as they kind of have to just sit back, spam them out, kind of play off their respawners as much as they can. They will throw Olga in, but it's a bit of a tall ask for your roaming soldier, if he's playing the roaming soldier, to kind of go in there and make something happen against that giant blob of Oro Electro.
Yeah, Rakuzan played this kind of weird. It's a common thing to just start walking in early when you don't have quite yet. That was the idea, at least, as they took so much damage and didn't want to use due to that, so they just left quickly because of that damage. And Kevin has Uber now, so any idea of playing this quick from second completely gone just by a little bit of damage onto pretty much every player equally. And with Olga going down late, trying to make some plays happen, this will slow down quite a bit.
It does make me wonder if they'll throw in the Gotti all over again. He did a wondrous job the first time round, getting that Kelvin drop, so curious to see if he can make magic happen again. But a sign of any good roamer is kind of keep things mixed and keep them on their toes and not become predictable. So I don't see any posturing to do that right now. Actually, Gotti's having a quick peek, a quick look, maybe some spam as well. He wants to spam down the sentry gun, but he's having a tough time with just the layout of the map at the moment. They actually move the sentry gun. So things are still quiet for both of these teams. 0-0 on the scoreboard.
But I see a sniper. Sui picked up the sniper rifle, peeking around this little corner here. Misses the shot onto Caleb's Gruff, wanted to distract, goes down to the stickies in the meantime. That's one down. And potential for Rakuzan to make some moves. Sui goes down as well. And Jimbot keeps going forward. Gets the drop onto Raptor.
Oh my god, that's a massive pick for them now, and they can definitely make this push out. They have to be a little bit timid about backcaps though, but I'm sure if everyone just exits through a different doorway, they can sort this out. They're making the bomb onto Kelvin. Kelvin is forced to use his Uber against the aggressive Gotti. Makes another Uber strike again for Electro, as they will claim the second point, but they were kind of hoping to get that with that Uber charge there, Dom.
Yeah, Gotti saves the situation quite a bit still. Electro able to take second with that drop. Nice play by Jinx, keeping his consistent performance on Sniper. They want to keep going with the momentum they have, but everybody's up on Electro. Will be Rakuzan as well, so it will be a big team fight. And Callum, the first one to go down to the stop on top. They keep the pressure forward. Everybody goes so weak on Electro. They need to leave it quickly with 2 players now.
They kept those soldiers under very tight control there, Dom. You saw that the soldiers kind of lost the momentum in their jumps, and without a fifth, I guess a terrifying jumping soldier jumping at you, there's no real danger to be had against a team without an Uber. So they just play off that. They kind of delay things over on Electro. Jimbot was kind of idling about, realizing that maybe if my soldiers can recover, then we can make the push in again, but it took too much time. They are kind of making a horrible state of this last push though. They even had an Uber charge for almost a mere second, so they could have made a dot push out of that if they really tried, but what a dreadful assortment of bleeding coming out from Rakuzan.
Yeah, now the counter push happens off of this really easy force, I want to say. As soon as it goes deep, once you get the medic Raptor stay safe, everybody had just followed up after on Electro. Deep jump by Olga forces the Eber eventually. Both teams drop multiple players, 3 down each. Olga is in a lot of trouble, sneaks around, just stay alive. And really messy situation there. Electro had such a good opportunity due to Rakuzan just bunching up in front of the doors on lobby and just not moving, so easy damage for Electro moving out of blast onto them. But nice conversion on second to be able to still make the best of the situation. Kinda like with the Gotti play earlier, just still able to get the Uber out of the picture.
Yeah, it could have been so much worse with Raptor, whereas he was being chased out by Jimbot, manages to duck and dodge and weave in and out to kind of deal with that aggression, but Olga's jumping in, and does he get sniped in midair? He's been denied launch back to the unpleasant ground, as he will not die, but that's got to hurt the ego a little bit. You make this nice confident bomb in and it just get plucked out of the sky like that. They will lose second, but Neva's got to be feeling himself right now in the sniper.
But there's a slight advantage. They're going to move in quickly here on Rakuzan's side. Force them back to spawn. Point starts to get placed. 6 have been dead. A lot of time on point. They need to commit on it immediately, and they do. Uber is up just in time to deal with that. 2 players down already on Rakuzan. Make that 3 with Olga not being able to leave. Everybody's weak as soon as Chase is done Gotti, and Raptor with a 3 escorting him out of blast. Pretty bummed about this.
It's a little naive to think that they can cap that out, knowing that Kelvin has his Uber charge in his back pocket, Dom. That's like a guaranteed block, no matter what. Unless they've positioned themselves into a horrible place, I don't think they should try and go for the point play there. They need to force out that medic before they kind of go for the round win there.
I would agree, but Kelvin played this super safe, rotated out into spawn really early, and they wanted to just capitalize off of the combo not being able to block the point early, so they tried to stack it, or maybe not stack it, but get time on it as quickly as they could, but it wasn't enough. Electro, with their own Uber, able to block it in time, and just a little bit of time was missing even. It wasn't much. Somebody could have just stood on it, and it would have changed this entirely, potentially.
Yeah, well, shoulda, woulda, coulda. The teams will have to just kind of move past it now. Things have kind of pandered off into a stalemate for this moment, although Gotti's got something to say about that. Goes for the bomb in, but meets a soldier instead of a medic, which is kind of a shame as well. You kind of expect that medic to stand in the spot that Kelvin's sitting in. It's almost like the deadly spot of Snakewater. The amount of times I've seen medics die in that position, Dom.
Yeah, every map has a couple of death corners, I want to say. Like, there's some classic positions where just people always tend to die. Snakewater no exception with that, but play got dealt with, and Electro is comfortable sitting here for now. Not really much coming out of them, so game remains evenly paced on both sides. Neither team throwing too much aggression on the other side.
We've got a spy, Dom. We have to be deadly silent. Make sure that this spy can actually get his job done. So kind of banking on Scruff to actually get this done quickly, because I don't think I can gaslight this the entire time.
Well, they do try to make some distractions.
Oh,
I think
man.
Gotti
He's gonna fail now.
spamming really aggressively.
You're making too much noise, okay?
Well, Rakuzan is making the good decision of making some noise themselves, so that our Electro is distracted the entire time. Gotti tries his hardest to just distract the soldier. The scout goes for a jump and as well as the spy moves forward, gets the force without some help. I don't know if they saw him.
That was good there. They must have heard the pistol shot though. He definitely fired a shot during all of that, and you know what? They used the spy to a different degree there, Dom. They actually used him as a security camera and really vocalized where that medic was.
Jimbot quick pick on the spy.
I mean,
down, opening is there for a force, and Callum goes forward. He wants to get the Raptor pick, or at least the force not happening. And the rest of Electro just looks at the situation and leaves immediately.
It's a very, very nice set of plays there, Dom. Not only do they use the spy to kind of guarantee the force with the additional pistol, they could maybe kind of get a force going off, a drop going off with the pistol potentially there, but they guaranteed the Gotti bomb onto Kelvin. That got the force out. They did get that pick off onto that other player, mind you, but he did his job at that point, and from there they can kind of use this fact that their Ubers were so bad and kind of bait them into this sort of forward push to hopefully kind of force them out of their own Uber. But again, it always looked like a bait play to me, as they will pop off this Uber now. Oh, a nice little snipe coming out from Nevo in the back line onto Gotti, and they will lose demos over on Rakuzan right now. I'm going to feel a bit scared if I'm on that red team at this very moment. They do have some hate coming out from Cheese as well. Olga's the only one that's kind of keeping this front line held together, and he's just dropped down. So with all those players going down, they will take away this second point from the Rakuzan team.
Yeah, the last couple of pushouts from our Electro have been significantly worse than this. They seem to have caught onto what's going wrong, and this has been much more stable. Didn't lose a life this time around. Still though, Raptor has so much more potential on this Medigun, so they can't really capitalize off of it too much besides just capping second. And in fact, Rakuzan might be able to make some moves here quickly.
Yeah, they have to be going really quickly though. They've just got the Uber now, and every time after this is a bit of wasted time here, Dom. They're getting their own Uber and they should get it really quickly. Kelvin might actually think about forcing a fight over on this second point, kind of play the respawners to their side, but they can't seem to get out. There we go, they actually get out with the Uber, but they're the first ones to pop off. Raptor will actually pop off his own Uber to kind of rally his troops forward and make them press into them. They will get the Kelvin pick as well, so that's an Uber advantage secured for them if Raptor just holds on to his life. Jimbot farming everybody. There's a back cap during all of this, and they're actually taking off a soldier versus the Jimbot final point. They actually cap off the second point to deny that back cap from Olga here. Layers upon layers are happening in this game right now, Dom.
Yeah, this is a really interesting situation. All the way when they started the fight, our Electro had the call so late to still go in, and it made their Uber so much worse in comparison to what Raptor had in store, but still they had just enough people in lobby to just stuff them there completely. Jimbot killing 2 people, and they saved it really, really much as it came down to a clutch cap versus cap situation, and Jimbot delayed for long enough, so the player to make the play so far is definitely Jimbot.
Greed. Greed is a deadly sin here, Dom, and it is the downfall of poor Rakuzan. They really wanted just to get every single kill they could get with that Uber, but in chasing all those kills, they overextended themselves into Jimbot, and we all saw what happened. So now we go back to the drawing board, back to mid, back to second point, back to the stalemate, but this time we got the sniper here, Dom.
We would have, but this looks like yet another pause, and I checked the chat last time and it seemed to have been Olga the Merc, so we'll see who's the person responsible this time around. And you mentioned a sniper. We have both seen Jinxed, and both have been having great impact on the game, and it just really makes me excited for the next map as well as the next few seconds, because Nevo on sniper has been really strong this season and this game in particular as well.
Yeah,
so far
he's been not quite as flashy, but it just feels consistent, you know. And sometimes when you've got a team like this, you probably prefer the consistent sniper over those flashy snipers. I mean, what good is it having a sniper player that only plays out of his mind one game out of 20 when you've got one sniper on your team that could probably get those consistent shots every game? I know what choice I would make, Dom.
Yeah, and when you have two of those, it doesn't matter which one is alive at that point, because one of them can just pick up the sniper class and perform. And this seems to be the choice of stalemate breaker, and I like to always mention it. This is the situations where just teams differentiate themselves in terms of skill level, being able to break these stalemates in a fashion that actually grants you the ability to keep on playing really long and get as much of it as you can.
Well, I really liked how Rakuzan approached it in the previous sort of stalemate, so I'm very interested to see what they can cook up now for them. I mean, they can't possibly do the spy play twice, but when it worked so well as it did last time, Don, do you actually think about doing the spy play again?
You mentioned that it was actually really interesting. The soldier came in just as they do now. Double soldier from both sides got dealt with as soon as
oh my god!
Down as well. That was destroying people completely.
Kelvin's just like, don't worry boys, I've still got the Uber, there's still some sort of silver lining to this, but if everybody dies here on this team here, Dom, is it a successful hold? They will pop off the Uber in the end, but they've got nobody to bloody Uber, they've only got one soldier, he has to spend the majority of his rockets getting out, and oh my god, Kelvin goes down anyway. This is an absolute car crash of an entire hold, and I can't think of a worse ending for this entire...
It looks really bad, but they're taking so much damage from Rakuzan. Raptor is stuck in as well, he can't leave, he gets
oh my god,
down as
Raptor the roller! He just kind of backs into the corner and the roller easily finds him. They will try and kind of pick off Kelvin here in these final dire moments of this team. God, everyone's just throwing as hard as each other, Dom.
Yeah, you mentioned greed, and it's definitely that for Rakuzan. They always want a little bit more than they can actually afford with the current situation in the game, and it just shows again. They just overextend into last, ever so slightly too much. Raptor got completely stuck in, and Chipboard took care of that very quickly. And even earlier on second, Electro just not realizing the situation quickly enough. They lost 3 players, and they just weren't out of second fast enough. It just completely took them off guard that Rakuzan was in already.
Alright, Oro, Electro do have the advantage at this very moment in the game. They should know it as well, and they are pushing in forward with it. They've got Jimbot, they've got Jinx kind of linking up. The flank is already in though, Dom. They've already pushed out the entire team by the scariness of this Uber alone and their sheer DM prowess. So they will force them out and kind of... This is all part of the plan if you're over on Rakuzan right now. You're kind of wasting time. Raptor, ooh, bit of dangerous levels there, and will pop off his own Uber. Both teams are kind of trying to get away from each other. Actually, I say that Raptor and co do kind of overextend themselves trying to take this fight against them. They were putting on a fat, solid Uber onto this one soldier. I think that was Olga, and all that they've done is kind of bled players in every other part of the map here.
Yeah, Jinx is forcing them out really quickly after they've lost the 3 players post Uber. They're just staying in lobby a little bit too long, so just spam people down so easily. And with that, Electro keeps the momentum up, caps up second, pretty much exactly even Uber situation. And with that, both teams have time to start thinking about how they want to approach this. And for Rakuzan, that means having the sentry up, building 3 on the right side, preparing for the push. And Electro want to play this with the classic 6s lineup for now.
Well, on the bright side for Rakuzan, they did keep Raptor alive, so Uber advantages will be even for both of these teams. Scruff's just having a quick check of what they're playing with over on that blue team. Doesn't spot anything unusual, so we'll switch back to the sniper class. They did actually throw in Azunas and Nevo, but with that sentry gun set up where it is, they're not going to get any sort of bombs in onto Raptor, and he actually gets a pick himself, the cheeky bugger.
Yeah, and with that they want to get some space to see what they can make of this pick, but it's always harder to find much of just a single pick. By the time you move that properly, it's almost always too late, and we see as soon as a spy, but how much can he do in this situation?
I mean, there's been some nice spy play, so he's got a lot to live up to here. Scruff is actually... Oh no, I thought he was going to play a bit of spy as well, kind of quick little debate there.
Well, maybe not a debate, but more of a heads-up play. There's somebody respawning, so make sure you check what class it is. And maybe he has seen a spy, maybe not, because it was only a short second of a Zunis spy. He thought better of it. Scruff himself decided to snipe now.
Yeah, they're just kind of biding the time, and I'm not sure which team really wins out in this moment. There's 10 minutes left, but neither team have got a round on the board, so a bit of time wasting amongst everybody. I think they just really want to bring it to the wire. Oh, actually, they throw 2 players in, and those are 2 wonderful sets of picks for Oro Electro to capitalise on. Now, they have got the sentry gun to kind of hopefully turn the tide of this, but it's been taken out rather quickly. It was in a poor spot for these sort of pushers in against Oro Electro now, and look how much free space they got. They will actually pop off the Uber nice and early to guarantee that they don't drop anybody. They will respond in kind, however, on Rakuzan. They're trying to just chase out some of these kills. They will get the Callum kill, and they almost try and get the kind of caught out on Jimbot, but he does manage to weasel his way out of that choke point. They want to make a push of this because they've got the pick advantage, but I'm not too sure about this here, Dom.
Yeah, I don't think either. Raptor takes so much damage, Scruff as well. 3 goes down, and 2 down on Electro, so they do actually find the counter picks, and that's what keeps them going in this as they move out into second. Electro back on grass, demos with some knife types, cleans up Jinxed, and that should seal the deal for now.
It's a real shame that they lost those 2 players. You could see that Callum was in a nice position, but he didn't really have the confidence to go in forwards because he already lost 2 of his members. There's Gotti manages to swing his way around, and oh no, they actually back off, losing Olga. Everybody's being reeled back here, Dom.
Yeah, speaking of confidence, Gotti was a bit ahead of his team there, probably wanting to really play this out in an even fight, but they really didn't want to take the risk with a game this close, so they decide against it. Electro, however, is starting to make some moves on grass. Jimbot with some more players backing him up. Everybody is throwing the damage over the fence to see what they can get. Callum just jumps over, tries to get off the Raptor, hits 1 rocket. That's not enough, it was a nice one, but 100 damage won't kill the medic.
It is a bit cruel when you get all your damage pulled onto that medic. All he needs is a quick health pack, and then he's going to be fine in no time. It's all or nothing when it comes to these medic picks, and he doesn't get the all, so he will get the nothing. It is another bomb attempt from Gotti. Does get Jimbot so low. Oh, the crossbow, that probably would have saved him from cratering there. I mean, again, we talked about all and nothing, Dom. It just seems to be a game where like trends are following. There's always just a period where everyone is just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and speaking of over and over again, we see Electro still contesting grass after they got the pick for a little bit like we've seen before, but not for the longest time. Nice little scout battle there, Nevo against Scruff. Neither of them commits too hard for this, and I see the Gotti spy as 3 goes really aggressive on Jinx. It is, excuse me, gets Olga with some help, but gets cleaned up himself afterwards.
Oh, another bomb attempt on Raptor, but he just sails away. He's like Superman, and he is not going to die over any stinking. He actually gets a kill during all of that aggression, but these teams just seem to be so evenly matched. Every person that dies, another person dies on the opposite team. They will come in for the flank round, and they will force off their Uber. Kelvin's milking it though for all it's worth, and now it's a big, fat, solid Uber onto Jimbot, and he's trying to keep control of Raptor, and Raptor will go down. 10 kill streak for the man, as he will kind of set the tone for the rest of this round, unless they can make these turnarounds over on the flank. But the flank seems to be a little bit lost during all of this aggression from Oro Electro, Dome.
Yeah, that was Never was forced to take a 2v1. He won the first one, but was too weak to keep on fighting. Had to get some help before contesting Orca. He wins it eventually, and I don't know if you've been keeping track of it, but these demo men just refuse to die, both of them on insanely high kill streaks.
Dear lord, they're both on 10 as well. The mirror matchup, it is truly just the team playing against their shadow. And 6 minutes left on the clock, still 0-0. This has been quite the heartbreaker of a round as well. It's not been just one team kind of peering over the other team over on this last point. Oh, no. This team's have plenty of times to take this last point. And here comes another attempt from Oro Electro. They get a lot of time on this point, bait them into it. They're hoping that if they kind of rotate their own soldiers around, they can kind of bait the bait and it doesn't work out for them. The damage wasn't as strong as they
Kelvin
were
got
banking
corner
on.
guard in lower, he gets taken down by Olga eventually, never not quick enough to help, and might as well just sealed his own fate there with Jim out also too late to do anything. Got cleaned up both of them in lobby, trying to come in to save their medic.
Have scientists gone too far, Dom? Is this map just impossible to push on? Both of these teams are just struggling so hard to make this last push happen. Tell me that it's the teams, Doms, and not the map.
Well, it's kind of the same mistakes over and over again, just the point being played at the wrong times and just overcommitting to it. And there's a big flank going on. Azunis and Jinx going behind, winning the fight against Gotti, forcing everybody back. Azunis wants to get the jump in onto Raptor, but he's pretty weak, forcing himself a fight against multiple people, doesn't win that one. Jinx, however, almost manages to get out all the quick set up for the 3k, and that's 2 down. And with an Uber advantage, surely Rakuzan isn't going to wait much longer.
That was a risky play there, Dom. If that didn't work out, they would have more than certainly guaranteed mid and second point for their troubles, but with...
Callum couldn't leave, got piped out of the corner, got stuck, and then Olga quick follow-up there.
I mean, they're pretty happy though. They've wasted a lot of time with that backcap play over on Oro Electro at this point. They've almost got their Uber charge, and they might actually think about fighting over on this second point, but every time we've seen this fight exchanged, it's always gone the aggressor's way, and they won't even test it. They will go back, they will guarantee that last defense instead, and why not? You've got two excellent snipers that have been kind of doing a solid job so far in this match.
Yeah, and last time we had this exact same situation. They decided to go in, but really hesitant about it. And if you're not confident about the plays, it's really bad. Gotti jumped in, but he jumps too high. I think he got synced up by a rocket there as well, so he couldn't wall jump.
Yeah, he knocked into Azunis. Azunis kind of fluffed up his jump, and everyone was taking pot shots at him. And Azunis will actually pay the price as well. Again, this team is fighting its shadow. If one Roamer must go down, the other must follow. Olga will go down. I swiftly expect Callum to die as well, just out of good graces.
It will look like Jinx is the one with a little bit of a death wish there. Walks into a pipe and is close to these sticky traps, but it's such a common spot. Surely they must be aware of it. And Rakuzan is just playing around the fact that with this being the most commonly sticky point, that nobody will dare walk through it.
Look at Azunis, look at Olga, they're just checking each other constantly. Exact same players just going back and forth with each other, replicating all of their moves. You see Sui is actually picked up the sniper rifle, but it's not just the only interesting change here. They've got Olga on Soldier. I mean, Soldier? He even fooled me. He's actually Spy, but he was disguised as a friendly soldier. He's trying to play the part here, Dom, taking the Oscar potentially as the most blue person on the blue team when he's in fact over on that red side.
Question is, do they know as well as we getting some sniper picks here, making some moves for them?
They don't know at all. There's no sort of kind of swift look at the back. Yeah, he should get a very clean pick here unless they hear him, and oh no. He's trying to play the part. He's just kind of walking back and forth. He gets a block.
Nobody cares.
Oh, what a player! He's like, I'm just going to sap the sentry gun. But this Jinx doesn't know what to do. Oh, actually, Nevo knows what to do. He knows that he can knock off that sapped sentry gun. It's pub TF2 all over again, Dom. I hope you've been practicing in your own time. Pubs are a part of the meta now, it seems.
Well, joke's on you, I casted the season of low. But no, that was just way too many things going on Rakuzan at the same time. And sure, the other team has to deal with all of them as well, but you have to coordinate them all, and they wanted the sentry with the spy, who's still on the field. Olga wants to get another shot, but this time they deal with it quickly. And yeah, there was just too much going on. A spy, a sniper, a Demoman trying to get some spam as well, and none of it worked.
Man, it looked so depressing. There was a time where he was running as the enemy scout. I thought maybe he's just depressed to be on Rakuzan at this point. He wants to just join the winning side and starts disguising as the blue team. But again, still 0-0. Teams still kind of turn the tides no matter how much the other team drops themselves into it. And they will manage to push them out from player advantage alone. These do both have Ubers, but no one's really brave enough to pop off theirs first, so it will go back to a last point defense for Oro Electro. There's only 1 minute left, so this is heavily in the favor of Rakuzan to make this count, as they will pop in with the Uber first. They will respond in kind over on Kelvin in the frags are just being found a little bit quicker over on Electro as well. Everyone's trying to find a combination of aggression and backing out.
And as soon as takes down a medic with a melee kill as well. And now you need to make the tough decision. It's just 40 seconds, so I would imagine they just stay here for the last few seconds. If this was happening any faster, they had a slight chance, but this fight took so long. And with killing Raptor as well, they have a good safety net of 30% advantage, if not for the fact that he spawns on the crit squeak, so they are well aware of the time left on this map, but even then it won't be enough.
Got sentry guns, heavy weapons guy, all of the whole kit and caboodle is being prepped for this last defense. They will push in, they have to make a push because it is the final seconds of the game. They have no time for another Uber, and look at them, they're getting rinsed here, Dum. It's just cool TF2 to watch. The GG's come out, but the game isn't over here, Dum. It's golden cap.
Yeah, and with how this game went, this could be a long one. Both teams just struggling on these last points, but constantly put out plays everywhere else to counter each other, and it's just been some insane back and forths.
Now, I have a little word from the TF2 Divine Gods that if any sort of game plays out like this, Dum, I almost guarantee you that the golden cap is going to be instantaneous, super quick, less than a minute. It always is, Dum. It always is. It just kind of has to go the other way because it's just, you've had too much of one category. You've got to have another part of the second bit. So, golden cap. We've made our predictions. You said Electro, but I'm going to give you another shot at it. Do you want to go with Rakuzan now that you have the chance to change your mind?
I keep my prediction, and that's certainly not only because Zunis is on my fantasy team.
Zunis, please think of this poor boy's fantasy points. No greater. Every time
it's always difficult to look at logs while the gold cap could start any minute. They've already changed config, so I don't know.
I'll have a minor look at the logs. You know, I won't deny them. If they're offered to me, I will take them. But I'm sure that teams usually don't spend too much time in this little break, small interval.
Let's see them if we can. There we go.
Well, mine have not loaded at all, so I'm just going
I can tell you a story of DuMmTm just having great damage. Jimbot much more so than Devils though. And like we saw, really low deaths on both of them, 8 and 6 for Jimbot and Demos respectively. Jinx also just dying 8 times, which is really impressive as well. So, despite how the game went, it's mostly just the same people dying all over the place. And it's mostly, as we saw in the stats earlier pre-game, the Rakuzan soldiers who just like to give their lives for plays. And yeah, it shows in these logs how these teams play. Just really aggressive soldiers trying to do as much as they can with their lives.
This is too much neutrality for me, Dum. I want some names. I want some blame being set. Who's the one to be blamed on either of these teams for this game just being so even? Who's the bad players? Come on now.
Well, the soldier thing could be a blessing and a curse, because I mean, if they're not out often, then they can't have much of an impact, and when they do something, it needs to be big.
Well, you've been saved by the bell, Dum. You truly are a lucky one. Let's hope that one of these teams follow your luck streak as we are heading into our golden cap. It's Snakewater again. Take 2. Ding, 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 ding. Let's see who can pull it off this time. It's been quite even. No round scored. Gotti will start this mid like he did the first one, and he actually won't be committing fully for the bomb though. He goes for the wraparound play.
Onto Kelvin, and a lot of them from Jimbot get cleaned up as well. Everybody really aggressive on Rakuzan, and they clean up people left, right, and center. Only scouts left alive. Sweet, a lot of trouble though.
These scouts, they've just cleaned up these 2 players. It's a good thing they've got some splash damage on the side of Rakuzan to kind of turn the final seconds of that little mid there. But again, we saw that trend in the previous sort of iteration of Snakewater. They came out with a very strong mid over on Rakuzan, so I expect no less from Electro to make this turnaround here, Dum.
Yeah, the mid was interesting because we saw a soldier, I forgot who it was, but one of them jumped behind into the enemy saw, and Demos just sticking it off. Nobody could do anything about the soldier without walking to stick it. And fight in low. Jinx goes down. First pick, Uber gets committed into last, but they struggle to find much as everybody's just far back. But they can just walk on the point, get so much time, and it's too late for our Electro this time around.
I am a TF2 Oracle, Dom. Bow in my presence, as I have called it. It has lasted barely a minute. gone by, and this golden cap was just so quick. And you know what? I was rewarded for it. I sort of predicted Rakuzan. I mean, I never really... Actually, you're right. I never really predicted Rakuzan. But I wanted to predict Rakuzan if Raph was there. I mean, that's the closest out to both of us, so I'll take it.
Yeah, that was one hell of a game for sure. Just 2 mid-fights, and I think both of them went to Rakuzan, but obviously one being a little bit more impactful than the other.
I think they just had a second chance at it, and they knew what they were failing, and they this time didn't fluff it up. And it didn't help that Jinx also died very early on. Now, he didn't do that in the last defense.
He didn't do that much at all in the first 40 minutes of the game for sure.
Alright, so we can now look back at those logs if we want to bring those back up again while we're waiting for our second map, which will be Product, a very hotly weighted map for this entire series. But yeah, let's have a look at some logs if we can slap them back up, Mr. Producer Guy. But oh well, mine aren't loading again. God damn it! Well. Tell me, what's happening on these logs, Dum? Because mine are broken.
Well, we saw big damage by the demos. People refused to die a lot. Both demos having really low death. Jinx as well, I mentioned. Soldiers dying a lot on Rakuzan, but this time around they got a lot more value out of it with their aggression on mid. So I am surprised. As well as I mentioned, I saw some really sketchy mid-fights out of them in the past, but it looks like they fixed a lot of their mistakes, have some better working strats against Electro, and seems to be a problem they have been working on. So I am interested if this theme of fixing mistakes will carry on into Product.
Now, there is one thing the logs.tf does not provide us with, and that's a man of the match, Dom. And I'm going to let you, as #1 sole provider of that man of the match, who is the one that was playing quite hot in that last game of Snakewater.
I mean, it's a bit unfair because I'm gonna just pick the people at the top of the scoreboard pretty much, but both demos himself at that as well, going really insane. They had that 10 kill streak at some point, both of them. Demos on the last bit in the golden cap as well, just piping things left, right, and center. Nice little heads-up play with the stickies to help out the soldier going behind. Really smart stuff there. Jimbo having a good game himself, and last player I do want to mention is Jinx with this really clutch sniper play on the one last hold.
But we need a tiebreaker here, Dom, so I'm just going to give it to the team that ended up winning. So Demos, it's probably your man of the match. Probably, maybe, possibly. Let's see if he can continue into his Product game, and it is one hell of a map for Demos in general here, Dom. Not just the player, but for Demos in general across the entire board of TF2. What can you tell me about Vidoc?
It can be great or terrible, depending on how well you can deal with Scout. Scout is easily the best class in the game. That is a very common or agreed on fact, probably for most people. But if your team can deal with them decently enough, a Demo Man on Product can have such a big impact. The arc that the point provides to spam over is just perfect for how the projectiles fly. And if your team just supports the Demo Man just enough, he can just go off on this map. Yeah,
it's probably one of the maps where it's reminiscent of a pre-nerf Demo Man, where he feels just very strong. The enemy team is forced to push into you, in a sense, and you get to take all your time to kind of think about where you want to set yourself up or how you want to approach this sort of defense. Some Demo Men have different approaches to it. Some like to set up those crafty little sticky traps that gets those little drops in unknown places. Some like to just bombard them in a sheer hellfire from the sky, and some just kind of want to take the aggression to them, hold up close, maybe even take some kind of fancy Kado jumps like he used to do. It's a nice map to see as a Demo Man. And the mid, again, quite a slugfest as well. It can come down sometimes to the Demo Man getting things rolling over on this mid. So with these two Demo Men, you know, hotly just playing on fire. That is the key word for tonight. Hot, 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 fire, fire, fire. Both of these Demo Men should be keenly watched throughout this entire Product match. But
yeah, and I'm interested on the lineups because we mentioned Sniper is a choice that you can make. Doesn't seem like anyone wants to do it. As soon as well with the heads-up play, we've seen it on 7 a long time. just checking the classes before the game starts.
Oh.
He doesn't see a sniper, so he plays soldier as well.
Look at Demos, he jumps straight in. He's already arrived on mid, setting up stickies before Jimbot even gets a breath on this mid. He will take the first foot forward though, Jimbot. And
but everybody on Electro just walks over the point decisively, takes down 5 people. Only Olga left alive. Get Callum eventually, but there's not too much for him to do. He just kinda plays mind games with as soon as is able to get the pack. Wants to take the M25, wins it! With a big air shot.
Oh!
Big taunt coming out as well, he deserves that for sure. Just, it was such a bad situation, but he just like waits a second. Callum doesn't know what to do, so Olga just takes the pack, gets the jump up and destroys it.
Yeah, and with this newfound second wind over on Rakuzan now, they're motivated to make that push forward. They do trade out a few blows, but they're kind of expecting this squeeze on the back line. They actually pop off the Uber over on Electro, going aggressive into them. They've forgotten about this factor. They've been pushed back into their own corner. Callum's been left alone though. He hasn't really got any Uber to work with, and Demos just dodges him enough to kind of kite the entire thing. And keep in mind,
Kelvin saves himself from 3. He had such an easy time cleaning that up as a scout, but it just shouldn't be Kelvin. With the arrow saves himself.
Yeah, Sweet was doing a wonderful job during all of that as well, Dum. He got behind very early, was killing a lot of players and just buying a lot of space and time, being that rotting force from within over Electro.
Rakuzan, they just fled 2 people, Demos goes down as well.
Oh!
Deep jump in by Callum.
Oh my god, the hate is coming, it's pouring from everywhere. Callum will go down for it, and Azunas actually manages to get out as well. Oh, the soldier gets launched back as well. Gotti kind of being punished a little bit. The scouts overextending into the Demo Man. They will be farmed, they will be cleaned up. It's just very, very back and forth on this Podom map. I've never seen anything quite like it in this season so far.
Yeah, Electro, we had this on Snackwater before, just overextending in some of these situations a little bit too much, staying in too long with some people, and Rakuzan takes not too long to make quick care of them. As Electro still pushes out, they have Uber now, which is what they wanted the whole time after the force. They come here, in here aggressively, Raptor does go down, see some stickies up, Jimbot, 2 down already, points starts to get played, and now they just need to keep themselves safe.
Yeah, Scruff is behind enemy lines right now, and he's hoovering up all the ammo packs, the health packs, just being an overall pest and maybe trying to take some 1v1s, but he actually loses out to Nevo on that flank. So with one player in their sort of death counter for Rakuzan, will they actually make this push in now? They don't have any Ubers on either of these teams, so they might just take the loser's advantage alone in this 5v6, but now it's 6v6. Speaking of loser advantage, they could probably make that push now as they kind of switch sides, see if they can make a more favourable play on this flank. But Gotti's being bullied back, doesn't really find the play. Callum will kind of throw himself in, and both of these players do find a pick on themselves. Jinx is barreling forward, finds the weakness in the crowd and will keep pushing it. Demos is forced to go back, and Scruff doesn't even find the scout. Oh god, Callum, that was embarrassing. He just cratered.
I like the general idea on Rakuzan to play this before he was up. They didn't have much disadvantage, but they did. And they just wanted to make use of the spawn advantage, but they struggled to find the picks. And that way, Electro can just hold on to this for now.
Yeah, they actually force off the Uber. That's a very early pop for my liking there, Dillmans. They're going to use their Uber over on Kelvin and co, and they just want to kind of sit back, not risk anybody, because they do have the...
But Olga straight behind Kelvin finds a good rocket. Can he clean him up? No, it's not enough. 3 people down again on Rakuzan. Scoff will surely go down as well. And Raptor and Demos are in a lot of trouble. Demos gets chased down here.
Oh
Raptor
my god.
Takes the safety route out. Demo Man, for him, takes the death instead.
Azunas was farming everybody there, doing a lot of heavy lifting. You could see that the entire sort of tone of that Uber was to kind of stay protected, stay back and not risk anything, and the only person that was risking things was Azunas, and Azunas was reaping the rewards as well. They will kind of push it with the aggression, and it's expected from the losers. Keep in mind, we're going to keep mentioning this loser's advantage together. Respawners are very kind, but Azunas is more harsh. He's actually going to get the double kill over on that one rocket bomb from Azunas now, and he lives to tell the tale. They will have no time left to actually bounce this back. It is Oro Electro first round.
Yeah, it took them a long time to really get in a big lead here. Really close until about half time down for both teams on the timer. But from then on, Oro Electro just stayed in control the entire time.
You don't really see many players showing off those soldiers in this product map. Some opt to even go the sniper and double scout route, but Azuna's showing work over on this roaming soldier. Gets some nice damage to start off the mid, and Callum follows up actually in the other end. Gets the Raptor and the Demos kill. That's the main combo taken out, and God, they're crawling all over them, Oro Electro.
Yeah, their focus fire on mid is just so good. They have some passive bombs and nobody goes too deep, just like drifting out immediately, throwing some rockets at them, and then everybody else moves in, takes the pick that are most readily available, and Rakuzan has no answer to that whatsoever.
It's starting to set in now for these teams here, Dum, that one team is winning quite heavily, and what is a team like Rakuzan to do? Is it time to slap out the Scruff Pyro? Is this the idea of Olga, Pyro main himself? He will get cleaned up by these scouts because he can't reflect bullets and he can't quite reach the scouts either, so I mean, what is the counterplay to Oro Electro at this point, Dom, in your expert opinion?
I think they did the right thing. Oro Electro, after this long drawn out mid fight, for the most part, took a long time to kill the final player, was not able to pull up a good forward hold, and the quick aggression completely denied any potential of that forward hold. Took the E-board of the question. Aggressive jump in onto Raptor. Never as well gets struggled in and gets straight onto Raptor's face. 3 down, but trading that for the medic is perfectly fine.
I'm not too sure about that. I mean, sure, they'll get a little bit of time on this point, and if they can get the force out very early from Kelvin, this would prove quite nicely for them, but he's going to have that uber quick, and everyone's, again, going to respawn quickly because the point has been slapped onto the other team, so everyone's up now, everyone's got an uber. If they can make this push work, they can see a lot of time gain from Oro Electro.
Well, that's nothing ways. Move soldiers go in aggressively. Uber gets committed pretty late. Then after damage comes into Kelvin, both teams lose the soldier, but still aggression coming up by Oro Electro, and everybody's so weak. Raptor stuck in the corner, manages to sneak his way out, and it's only Olga on the point, but he can't do much there either.
Yeah, it's not brilliant, but it's not bad either. They get some kills and they get the point under their belt as well. Our Raptor's going to have his Uber, but it gives Kelvin plenty of time to build his own, and they can maybe set up some sort of forward holds over on Oro Electro, and that's what they've done. They've sit both of those soldiers in. They've actually found a weak spot in this mid door. One peeks with the crack, but he will be punished for it. When you make that break over on your team, you've got to think that if you're on Rakuzan, everyone needs to start flooding from that door, not just that one player there, Dom.
Yeah, and if it's just a single player, Scout can, from the high ground, easily deal with the soldier. We see the Pyro again, this time it's Olga on his main, so he wants to win this every way he can. Players are being shot, and everybody just slowly backs off. Yeah,
and they will give respect to the Pyro, and the Uber as well. They kind of ransack the point, starting to stack it, get some time onto it, but they've got their own Uber now, and what's that, like 5 seconds they could have potentially gained from that now? They could maybe just force them out in general. They actually will pop off the Uber, and they drop Jinx during that Uber as well. Oh, if he just got a mere flash dump, he would have survived, but he will not receive such a glorious thing from his own medic. And Azunas, he's just getting bullied by this poor Pyro. He can't seem to sustain his life. He's going to go down to the afterburn. He's on 1 HP! 1 HP warrior will get cleaned up, and there's nobody really there to set the front line of Oro Electro. They will have to give up this point despite having that Uber exchange, and that was their fight to win there, Dom.
Yeah, and people complain Pyro too good now, but really that was nothing the Pyro couldn't have done before the update anyway. He just denied a lot of damage and spammed flares to have some consistent damage output over range, and it paid off so far.
Yeah, he's even got that I think is the detonator, the one that kind of fires, makes you set a light in midair. Oh no, Jinx goes down. He actually tries to back off due to that flame as well, and the medic spent a good portion of his time healing up that player just for him to go down in the end there. It's just an unfortunate set of events for Oro Electro here. Could this, do you think the tilt might be setting in at this point? Some teams have crumbled to it before.
Maybe, but if you struggle with the close range class, just pull out the long range one, a sniper would have a field day with him, and they just stay with cookie cutter lineup and pump the Uber straight into them, but so much earlier they have to be as quickly as they can. Nice juggle there from Demos onto Kelvin, but it's not enough to take him out, and the fight continues as Rakuzan teams up people. While they're weak though, DuMmTm gets a pick, with some help of Nebo, cleans up a second one.
Very nice play from Callum here. He's brought their attention to do different sides of the map here, and it's too much for Rakuzan to deal with. I say too much, they're actually doing a wonderful job of actually re-sustaining it now. If Oro Electro may be a little bit quicker off the mark, but they actually do get those scouts up, and that double scout combo is a bit scary now that they're linking up their focus fire here for Oro Electro, and it's starting to crumble one by one. Demos might get cleaned up as well. He does have enough buff to actually weasel his way out of this choke, but there you go, they found their way of maybe countering out of this pyro. It's the time to just get behind or become a distraction, get annoying with it.
Yeah, and Rakuzan, they don't have Uber, but they know that Kelvin doesn't quite have it. They want to play this as quickly as they can. There's not much time left, so they really need to Uber pop really defensively by Kelvin. And it's the final seconds. They're running down. Uber pop by Raptor as well. Nice struggle, but it almost saved Kelvin more than it hurt him, and he's completely safe.
Usually what happens in these Ubers, Dom, is people kind of splash damage the Ubered players as much as possible to kind of disrupt the Uber and kite them with in their movement. But all he's actually done was boosted the Pyro forward and made his Uber so much better. Got the easy kill onto Jimbot, and they will make another bomb-in attempt now. This is their final huzzah for Oro Electro. If they fluff this up, they could potentially lose the entire round. It's just gone into a full chaotic state as everybody is kind of dying all over the place. The scouts are doing huge work. It's just Sweet left. He needs to clean up this scout, but nobody was capping the point, Dom.
That was such a FP. It's still a difficult fight to win, but you need to be in a point to have a chance on it. And we've seen it on the mid-fight. Oro Electro's team play and focus fire is just like better by just a bit, and it shows in these fights.
They found their feet towards the end of that round as well. If trends keep following, maybe they'll get this round now, because they're slowly clawing it back from the domination of Oro Electro. We're into our potential third and final round as they will launch into it. Olga's still keeping up with the Pyro play, deciding to go back to his roots. And, well, I say roots, he's always kind of picked up this Pyro recently, but still going back to his famed roots. He will kind of get a reflect kill, which is a kind of a cheeky turnaround of the entire fight, and it kind of spawned from there this entire domination of the mid, just from the focus fire and player advantage alone.
And we see Nebo going sniper, having none of that pyro stuff, so he picks up the long range class against the close range one, and we've seen him play sniper before in this game, so this could easily turn into a sniper fest now.
But keep in mind, he's got that detonator. If he can get those flare guns onto the sniper there, he doesn't really have a clear shot at him. That constant fiery buff. Oh, Demos goes down during the Uber. This could be disastrous for Rakuzan unless Olga can make a massive amount of work done here. He's gone in close. He's laid out a huge amount of damage. Jimbot does go down, and they do still have those scouts bouncing about. For both of these teams, though, it's 2 scouts versus 1. Where's Jinx during all of this? Jinx, he was too busy having a quick look at behind, and all it takes is just a few moments here, Dom, and both of the 2v1 scouts do win.
Yeah, and Kelvin is actually so lucky that he didn't get chased, because Jimbot just spawned but chose the wrong exit to save his medic, but no chase on Rakuzan's part, so Kelvin stays alive. Ubers are even, but Rakuzan still in control, already having kept up so much time off the point.
Yeah, Callum is the first one to kind of peek his head over on this flank. Maybe if they can get a swift pick on the flank, then they can start clawing the mid from that point on. They've got the Uber charge for Rakuzan, which is a nice safety net. It's kind of guarantee their own safety as they make this push in. Oh, a drop from onto Jimbot. They weren't expecting that over on Oro Electro. He's a big force for them on that team as well. Dropping him could maybe...
the Pyro's just denying the entire Uber, and Jinx can't hit anything. Eventually, the counter pop comes out, but they still drop 2 players in the meantime. The Uber might have been denied quite well, but they still dropped people. And now, with these people down, Oro Electro is starting to move in.
Yeah, they've got Jinx behind there, and he springs from his trap, comes in and gets a nice little flank in as well, whilst that provides some space for his sniper to get that headshot in. He's actually fighting with them. You don't usually see this with the sniper class, really in the front line for his team, but it's not proving good enough for Oro Electro. They're holding on to this point, and look how much time is left, Dom. 30 seconds left. They haven't even capped the point once over on Oro Electro. They need to...
And the Pyro is putting in so much work, just walks in, kills Snapper, deals so much damage to multiple people, but he eventually gets cleaned up, and it looks like Rakuzan is overstaying the work camp ever so slightly.
Overextension. Scruff is still alive. You think somebody would have airshot him by now. There we go. Scruff does get cleaned up, but it's not quite an airshot. Gotti is still fighting in the backline. Oh, stylish airshot from the Gotti man as he will get peppered down, but he's won the moral victory. He's won the YouTube victory. And we've got 100% Uber kicking for Oro Electro, but they've got their own Uber. Raptor managed to keep himself alive during all of that chaotic play. They will pop off their own Uber, but they should respond in kind for Kelvin right now. He's just getting everybody buffed up with an Uber, keeping everybody safe. They don't want to make trades here over on Oro Electro. They want to keep everybody alive for as long as possible, and it's going to be one hell of a climb here, Dom. They've got 2 minutes to claw back at this point.
Yeah, they managed to win this Uber exchange for now. They had good damage, but could only find 2 picks. Still, there was a Pyro, and that has been one of their biggest troubles so far.
Oh man, you can kind of feel the sweat on the brow of Rakuzan at this point. They've got 17 seconds. That is all they need to get back from Oro Electro, but you can see the workings, the inner workings and potential for Oro Electro to hold on to this. And this is for one measly round here, Dawn.
But everybody keeps dying all over the place. Such good focus fire. Everybody is dead except Debo, but he's stuck in the fight and he loses that one as well. Eventually, Rakuzan captured the point. People just will barely spawn in time to have any chance of preventing straight loss.
53 points this Pyro sat on right now in this game. Is this going to be the tide turner? Is this going to be a comeback for Rakuzan to get some points onto this ETF2L table, Doug?
It very well might be. Olga, the sleeper big Merc on the Pyro class, completely turning this game upside down. The moment he switched to Pyro, Rakuzan has just been that much stronger.
Well, the mid went so well for them last time, running this Pyro to mid. I'm more than certain that they're going to expect it again though over on Oro Electro, as he will actually get an early detonator onto Callum. That's going to put a kind of wrench into the works of Callum, who actually gets reflected again over on this midpoint. Say it ain't so. Every time he goes in, he gets reflected by the Pyro. I mean, he hasn't probably had to play with against the Pyro for a good couple of years now, Dom, and now it rears its head back in. He's having flashbacks from those Valve pubs all over again.
Yeah, Olga surely knows what he's doing on the Pyro class. Many people just complain about Pyro and then just don't do anything about it. Olga just shows people the full potential of the class.
Oh. Azuna's, he's in, he's behind, he's going to take a health pack, but there's no health pack to take. He actually kind of gets in really deep, but this maybe sets the stage for Rakuzan to actually push forward. They do force off a lot of Ubers. There's a lot of multiing as well. Olga gets behind and he's just got to fight up against one scout. Will actually, oh, Callum gets the kill with his buddy Nevo and does get the health pack in time. Raptor goes down. With Raptor going down. Yeah, with Raptor going down, that is a nice advantage for Oro Electro. Not just Uber advantage, not just player advantage, but positional advantage. They will start setting up that forward lockdown. Jimbot has got the right hand side. He's on fire though, but I'm sure he's not going to care. He's got a health pack. He's possibly got some crossbows coming to him as well. They actually force him a little bit, and Jimbot is brought down very low. They actually get the pick off to Razunis, who tries to hold down the choke weight, but while Jimbot is getting some health back, they're pouring so much resources into Jimbot, and it's brought so much space to Rakuzan to make this push forward in now, and they're actually stacking a little bit of this point. They've got the Uber charge over on Kelvin very soon though, and they should know that they've got this advantage. Will they take it in though, Dom?
Ooh, nice fight by Demos. Jimbot didn't see those coming. He goes down. And without Demoman, this fight will be a little bit harder. They have slight advantage, but not for a long time. They still want to give it a go, but the Pyro will try to deny what he can. Raptor gets his Uber, so he doesn't need to do it for a long time. As soon as overwhelmed by the flames. Kelvin super weak, got me from behind, cleans him up. Both go stuck in the corner. One will go down. Eventually, Callum behind lines. He's cleaned up by Sui. So strong hold from Rakuzan.
God, he is so good at just getting behind and just being the sort of spring of their trap. He kind of coils back and hits them very hard once they fall into it, and with those couple of picks there will kind of make this Uber charge in the favor of Raptor and his entire company. They are trying to kind of weasel the way forward because the Uber haven't exchanged or entered into the mix quite yet done, so they're seeing if they can get a point for 3, kind of play off the loser's advantage and get some trades going, but they're not giving it away. Rakuzan, they will kind of just sit back, pepper them back and forth, throw some pipes. Oh, a pipe hits Jinxon, some focus fire follows up with that. Raptor's gone down! Raptor has gone down! Mayday, mayday, we're going down here over on Rakuzan, but they've lost so many picks during that little skirmish as well that maybe it doesn't matter. They've got an overcharge
alone though, and he gets cleaned up by a combination of Olga and Sui, and that's already one not still. They have the heals, they have the Uber, they just need to find the picks now.
The respawners have come back for them now, so they can make use of this Uber advantage. They're just getting peppered with fire, and look at how unhealthy the rest of Aura Electro is. They want to make kills happen with this Uber charge. You can see it and how they're posturing in, but they're sticking true to their word. They're going to play control, they're going to play precise, and they're going to play off that overextending play from Scruff, who goes down there. Olga's throwing back their own rockets. Gotti's the one that's going to make some play happen. Oh, a clutch crossbow coming in from Kelvin there to keep his pocket alive.
Huge damage on the backlines. Helps taking out multiple people now. And with that, everybody who's left alive, which includes Raptor, luckily for Rakuzan, have to leave all the way to last. They have the Uber advantage, but it's not a lot.
Look at all that time they have to get back though, and they were in a very similar situation in the previous round here, Dum. But hopefully they've learned from their lesson as they've got to have another go at it. They've got an Uber charge, but so does Raptor. He pops off his now. They haven't actually popped off quite as soon as they should have. Jimbot got dropped during that little exchange, and both of the teams are just kind of scrambling about for waiting for both of these Ubers to kind of exit out. The Pyro has set up some players alight. It's going to make the healings a little bit inefficient over on Aura Electro, and they've got just a few more players, or just one more player I think over on Rakuzan to actually keep this midpoint, but the trade should be more than...
Kelvin went down to the burn damage. Just couldn't stay alive. Medic heals himself, but not enough. And now just people without heals on Aura Electro trying to win this fight,
no,
and they're getting the picks.
Demos really, it's just greed. It's greed all over again. They thought like, oh, if we just kind of, you know, really just play sloppily, maybe we'll just happen to get these last couple of seconds. I think it would have been wiser if they just knew that they were going to miss that midpoint, back off and regroup themselves and then make the push in again. Olga's buying a lot of time, a lot of damage, and he has won it back for his team. It is 2 rounds apiece here, Dom. Do you believe in the comeback?
Olga's definitely making it happening. He has the most points on any class that isn't Medic so far, so that is a mark that Aura Electro probably won't allow again in the future, I would imagine.
Got to dig deep on Aura Electro. They've got to find the answer, and they've got to take as much energy from the Twitch as possible if they're going to make this round. But maybe the Twitch heart lies with Rakuzan right now with this Mimi Pyro, and it is another attempt behind from Callum, and we see the same story again. He's on fire. He probably will be reflected. He actually gets out of that fight, gets a nice little bomb wrap around onto Raptor and his buddies and his combo. Jimbot making some jump forwards as well. Olga does get cleaned up, but he sets one player alight. It doesn't matter though. He isn't quite damaged enough to suffer from it. That was a little close for my liking there, Dom.
Yeah, again, the focus fire really good for Electro, but with the Pyro, they have to put such a different fight on it than they actually would like to, and it shows they overextend the Medic on the point. Gotti can get into that one for free, gets the pick. Raptor with the big advantage, and with that they can just walk on the point, cap it back up.
Oh, the big jump in from Callum. Kind of brave to say he's jumping into a Pyro as well. Will go down rather quickly. They send in another 2 scouts, even a demo man to boot, and Azunis is like, hey guys, what's going on here? Oh god, everyone's dead, I'm out of here.
Yeah, the classic quad tag. Well, almost Azunis coming in a little late, but not successful. Neither of them finding too much damage. Raptor with a nice little serve to get away from danger. And Kelvin now has the Uber, so they probably want to play this a little bit different and just throwing people in now.
Yeah, it was a dire attempt at a suicide wave. They will get the pick onto Gotti, who was being a pest behind, so that is good for them so far. He's been a massive force for them in these Uber versus Uber exchanges, the one that usually kind of traps them in these back lines, and without Gotti there, maybe they won't feel the full sting backing off now. They actually overextend. This is the whole different problem for Oro Electro. They're banking on these 2 scouts to do a lot of work, and they just eat a lot of fire, a lot of bombs, a lot of damage, Dum, and that is going to be a mid held by Rakuzan for another fat amount of time.
Yeah, they really struggle to find an answer to the pyro. The soldiers try to go behind and distract, but really once they're on fire, just one of them can take a peg down on the cliffside, and the other one is forced to just slowly burn down. And that seems to be how Olga wants to keep these soldiers at bay, and it seems to be working really, really well. They still have advantage. Electro is playing aggressively into this now.
Alright, they will throw both the scouts into the mix, and they're DMing it up, and they're doing a nice array of meaty damage over against Rakuzan, and Olga doesn't really know where to turn his attention to. He's being pulled apart from the seams at every single part of the map. He will have to just back off with his team. Be glad that they still have the Uber charge to actually make this push into mid now, and they're just kind of waiting for an opportunity, an overextension perhaps. Olga actually gets a boost in, and he's going to go in with fire and hell, and he is burning everybody, and Gotti doing Gotti things, getting a nice set of damage over on Oro Electro. They do reflect back to come back to the midpoint, which they never capped actually, and during all of that hyping and talk of the pyro Dum, the rest of Rakuzan were dying.
Yeah, the soldiers behind sneak their way in there, clean people up. Raptor did go down as well. Due to how the spawns work on product, it's still even Ubers at the end of this, but now it will be an even team fight with Electro in control, actually getting a good amount of time finally against Pyro.
Yeah, Callum is going to get himself behind again, and he is playing off the fact that the Pyro isn't very mobile. So I do see this sort of like click in the heads of Oro Electro, but it's not just the Pyro they have to deal with though, Dum. It's also the Scouts, it's also the Demo Man of Rakuzan as well. And it's also the fact that Raptor just seems to be surfing everywhere at an alarming rate. And during all this, you've got some afterburn as well to kind of think about. It is a true puzzle, but they're slowly working it out here over on Oro Electro. This is the closest the time have been to one another at this point of the game as well. So I'm very hesitant to see how they approach this. Demos actually gets a pick off the Jinx while these Ubers get exchanged out as well. Raptor doesn't quite have his Uber either. He's actually going to get killed before he gets his Uber. He was 4% off, and Azunes can hold his head up high knowing he's done his team well. And Kelvin just needs to keep himself alive. Nevo needs to keep himself alive as well. They need every single person to make this push count. Play off the heals, play off the little chip damage that they're making right now. And there we go. They're working as a unit, they're working as a team, and they will get the midpoint for their labor, but they're not quite finding the guaranteed kills as well. I feel like the Snowbird extensions there, they're not quite getting on top of it, but still they need to look at the silver lining. They're pretty happy with what they've got achieved so far. They pushed them out. Another little kind of lag there, but Olga's back on Pyro. He's kind of pushing them forward. The Scouts will kind of pepper people down. Oh, there's actually a trade of people. Jimbot does actually find a pipe here and there. There's just chaos of mix of soldiers and Scouts and fire and pain, and it's slowly but surely going the way of Oro Electro finally in this game.
Yeah, and the really late pick onto Raptor ensures that they'll get at least a little bit of an advantage in these messy fights, with the Uber being about 20%. Raptor, well aware of it, there's not much time left either to build a normal Uber, so he switches to kills like we saw in the last game, and this will be their clutch play.
Yeah, but they haven't actually got much time to build the Uber itself, so it's like the Ubers are never really part of this game at this point. They're just going to play off the loser's advantage. They do get a nice set of trades. This is very good for Rakuzan here. They actually get the point as well. I'm not so sure about this, because now they're going to get those respawners really quickly over on Oro Electro. It's a good thing Scruff does a few cleanup kills here and there. Maybe Callum should wait for his team members to actually respawn first before he caps that point, but he has to. It's been launched into overtime, and now it's just one Scout versus another buff Scout. It is DM, it's MGE. The Chris has been involved. This is not part of MGE. This isn't fair. It's another team. The soldiers comes to block, but he gets launched away by the Pyro. That sums up the game now. It's 3-2. It's GG, Dom.
As you mentioned, the spawn timer just not kept in their heads, and Callum kept the point maybe a little bit too early, and what a fight at the end. And Rakuzan sneaks this away. Olga with 102 points on Pyro.
Wow, that's I guarantee you that is a first. I mean, he did play some soldier. Let's not kid ourselves here. For 2 of those rounds, he did play soldier, but those last 3 rounds of Pyro, whew.
And Scruff in chat asks Scruff if he's gonna kill him at land, which I assume is directed at Olga, and Nevo basically agrees. So that should be an interesting development in the future.
I do love it when TF2 gets so passionate it has to be fought in the game and in the car park. Alright,
yeah,
I guess we need to look at some logs here, Dom. We need to look at the mathematical breakdown.
Well, I see a Pyro at the top in terms of damage and picks, and I'm not surprised. The moment Olga switched to Pyro, the game just completely turned tides. 424 TPM on the Pyro class, so he's making a statement as to what his class of choice is.
Never in my life here, Dom, did I think I was going to see the day where Pyro would be top fragging, damaging over in this server of 6v6 competitive TF2. What year is it? It is a strange year. Alright, we need to move past it. We need to look at some of the logs. How come we didn't see much sniping here, Dom? What happened to the Wonder Scouts?
They tried it a little bit, but I don't think they really had the team set up for it. They had one life on Sniper where they just kept both soldiers, one life where they tried as soon as on Scar 2 even, in fact, but neither of which had too much success. They probably didn't have too much experience on the Sniper product play, and it shows. They struggled to find the answer against the Pyro of the Sniper as well, and yeah, they just couldn't do it.
Yeah, there wasn't much confidence play, but maybe it just comes down to Gotti. I mean, we have a lot of words to say about Olga and his Pyro, but Gotti just felt like vital in this game. I know.
Yeah, definitely. He was a playmaker.
His stats don't look great. It doesn't look grand, but as a roamer, those 20 frags just felt important. You know, those really big frags that set these sort of massive deficits for or Electro to come back from.
Yeah, Gotti was the playmaker this game for them. He was the only soldier, so he had to pull his weight, and he definitely did. Pretty much every time he did get a kill, it was pretty impactful, and it helped the fact that Olga was distracting people, and he could just get so much more freedom on top of that.
I know, for every pat on the back, Dom, I've also got to point out who's been shooting themselves in the foot, and I feel like Oro Electro have been dropping Jimbot a bit too much during all this. Maybe it's bit 50-50 Jimbot in an overextending sort of position. I feel like there's times he's going down during these rounds that I'm thinking back to where he really shouldn't be dying. Like, just random little drops here and there. And Jimbot, he's a big player for that team. You want to kind of pool a lot of resources into keeping that dude alive.
Yeah, he did get the top heals shared with Jinx, closely following up after similar comparable story for the Demoman and the Pyro on Rakuzan. And yeah, it didn't pay off in terms of heals for Electro as it did on Rakuzan, Damos, and Olga having good games.
It's kind of strange to see that nobody actually made a drop there, but I guess every time it came down to the wire, it was always just one medic not having Uber. We actually get to see some of Gentleman John's extended logs. Ooh la la! We don't get to see these often, so you get to see who's kind of dominating the mid. Obviously, the team that won the game is probably going to dominate the midpoint and king of the hill. So it does show off, though, that who is kind of carrying the team in these different parts of the map. And not only was Olga cleaning up these people that were behind, it was also the fighting force on this midpoint as well.
Yeah, only to be followed up by Jinx, at least on the blue side of things. Jinx showing a strong performance, but one really strong performance in comparison to multiple is just still not enough.
You can see there were. Oh, there you go. And you can. This is the domination chart. You get to see who's been bullying who.
Well,
Here,
we
Dom.
mentioned the obvious, but if you look at the bottom, we see Gotti with the plays 5 kills onto Kelvin.
Big kills, big kills. That's what we were talking about. 31 deaths, but 20 kills, and 5 of those are medic. You should be getting double points here, TF2. Gaben, please. I've got some ideas. Call me.
I think there's a few different things that I would fix after this game.
Well, you also get to see that Jinx was elected as the main guy to deal with Gotti, so maybe it's just a testament to that. If you throw the roamer in so many times that he could be having a dreadful game 90% of the time, but that 10% just feels a lot more.
Yeah, what I would have liked to see, at least as the desperation play to come out late, would have been a heavy, to be honest. I heard legends about heavy parking the bus in the old days, but I barely saw it myself recently. I would have been interested to see how that would have affected the game, to be honest.
I do remember once upon a time when the demo nerfs came in and War had to switch off from his trademark demo man to play heavy weapons guy, and he ended up winning that game for Epsilon just by War playing heavy instead of demo, and said demo is dead, I think, at the end of the game. Lines.
I hear mumble noises, and that to me means interview time.
God, what are these interviews that I'm going to have to talk about? This is just a whole new strain of TF2 we have to get into. Alright, fine. I will spearhead this interview. We do welcome in Kelvin.
Hey.
We do welcome in Demos.
Hello, hello.
Now, boys, my traditional questions apply. It's going to be what went wrong, and let's talk about this product map because it's fresh in the minds of both of you guys. Now, Kelvin, I will start with you alphabetically. What went wrong for your team in this product map?
Honestly, if you look at Olga's log and just go over to the fucking detonator damage, it's actually insane. He got 6.3k damage with standing behind the point. Like, how is that even possible?
I always said Detonator is the best flagger, but nobody believed me.
It's fucking retarded. I cannot out-heal that. It's literally impossible to out-heal that.
Yeah, it's I mean, people forget that there was a little change ages ago where the heals aren't quite as efficient on a flamed up player. So once people get set alight, you kind of wonder as a medic, should I actually be healing this dude? Maybe I should just send him to a health pack or something. I don't know. Maybe you should have got your own pyro, man. You know, just kind of blow people out of fire. Anyway, Demos. I know you won. I know you're feeling pretty good right now. You're probably popping the champagne and all that.
Not really. I 100% don't feel like I did.
You feel like you've done a deal with the devil.
I'm upset about Snake. Like,
okay, tell me about Snake then, if you've got the passion.
About Snake, it was kind of back and forth. We failed a lot of things. We messed up the things, and just happened from the other team as well. And I don't know how we messed up so many last pushes and so many sacks and stuff. And they messed up as well. It was like a really weird game.
Was it the map? Do you think if you played a different map, you guys...
I don't think it was the map. It was just like the pace. Because, like, literally, like, after the map and then in the Golden Cap, the round lasted like a minute. And I just said this with the team as well. Like, we should have let them win a round and then just, like, maybe, like, roll them 2 or 3 rounds, you know? But, yeah.
I mean,
I guess it's fine with that as well.
Yeah, you did get the Golden Cap in the end. It does mean you lose out just one ETF2L point to the opposite team, but you got to be feeling pretty good overall. How is the team feeling?
Everybody is, I don't know, putting Olga on a pedestal or something. Yeah, I was so upset at him in like the beginning game of product because he refused to jump behind them as Soli, and we literally couldn't like do anything to go forward because we would just fucking die instantly. So like in the middle of the second or third round, I think he said, "Can I go pyro?" And we're like, "Yes, just do that."
And you're like, "Oh my god, this guy is pretty good." Kelvin, let's talk about Snakewater. It was pretty close. It was a real nail biter. What did you think went wrong for you guys during that game?
We kept on taking the same damage when walking through checkpoints. Like when we had ads, we literally threw them away. That's why we never could like take an advantage and like push the team back.
Now, guys, I'm kind of wondering what your predictions were coming into this match tonight, because me and Dum had this match kind of set as potentially our match of the season. It was a very close game, and we did see it coming just a little bit, but we want to know how you guys were feeling. Were you guys feeling confident coming to this game, respectful, or were you a bit scared? Tell me your feelings. Let's start with you, Demos.
It's very tough for me, and for team as well. We had a lot of changes with like roles and such. Like we put Ruff on pocket and Switch got your roamer. We changed Maddox, which wasn't my idea, and yeah, even now we play with Olga because Ruff was away for a week. He literally could play just today, but we are like, you're not gonna perform well, so we got Olga as a mark. But yeah, I guess nobody had like any idea what's gonna happen. Nobody was like, okay, this is like 3 points. We're gonna like win easily. No, it was like very, like I guess we have very respectful players. They don't. I don't know. They're not cocky or something.
Okay. What about you, Kelvin? What were you guys feeling coming into this?
We didn't have much practice this week, like since my birthday on Tuesday, and like other factors coming in.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you.
Please, birthday man in chat, please. Thank you.
Yeah, but we were pretty confident on product because we actually had some good games against Ascent on it, and we had a good strat, but we just got fucking shut down.
So, tell me about the strat. What was the main, like, sort of... Well, actually, you probably shouldn't. Shh, you've got another week, actually, coming to product, so we won't get into the major strat right now, but do tell me about maybe the sniper, though, Kelvin. Me and Dum, we have a lot of respect for your two teammates over on that sniper class, but we didn't really get to see much of the class over on this product map.
Yeah,
do you think you could tell us why?
Because it's part of a team. Like, we would rather have a scout to actually play aggressive than play back with a sniper. Like, a scout's so much better for us. Like, Nevo on scout is way better than Nevo on sniper. I mean, it's situational, but it's just way better for us.
Alright, well, we've talked about as much as the game as we can talk about, so there's only one thing to do when we finish looking at the present. It's time to look to the future, lads. And I'm over on my son's basketball team match page right now to kind of see what next match we've got installed for you, and it is Ascent.eu. Ooh. Demos, how are you feeling about that match?
I don't have high hopes about that game. Like I just wipe it like very fast. Ooh. Yeah, the week 7 is gonna be like our focus, I guess, to get points.
Wow.
But yeah.
No hope at all. No hope. Not even. I mean, you guys have been doing well. Like maybe you can just go into it with a lax attitude. It seems to be doing well. Maybe get Olga in on Pyro. Who knows?
We're gonna teach Ruff how to. Like Olga's gonna teach Ruff the Pyro.
This is the new way. This is meta changing. It's the roaming soldier all over again. All right.
I feel like Neville can't catch up with that many people he has to punch at Landon.
Speaking of Nevo, let's go over to Electro, see what their next week game is going to be, and it is Nunya. Ooh! That's a good game, isn't it, Calvin?
Yeah, it should be pretty good. Even though I don't know how they will perform with their new soldier pair, because we haven't played with them since they got both of their soldiers, so
yeah,
it should be pretty
still
interesting.
A question mark. I'm not sure. They haven't officially rostered anyone, but they've been playing with a couple of names consistently. Yeah. So at least something to prepare for.
What about scoreline, Kelvin? Are you going to give me some sort of disrespecting scoreline? 5-0, 5-0 perhaps?
I don't want to disrespect Natas and Puskari that much. But I think it's going to be a close game.
Boo, that is not the drama I was seeking here. Even then, I was trying to trip you up. You can't possibly get 5-0 on product. But, yeah, I guess it's going to be a very interesting match to watch. It is, again, like you mentioned, a question mark on those soldiers of Nunya, so can't go too much into how the matchup's going. And it sounds like you've got a healthy attitude coming into it, but I'm all out of questions, personally. Dum, have you got any analytical smart people questions for us?
I think we talked about the most important things, so I don't think I have much else.
The pyro?
Well, we talked about it for the longest time, and I think everybody else had enough who's watching.
Alright,
Most likely.
Okay, well, I guess if that's it then, fellas, it's time to go to your shout-outs for being such good lads. So we'll go alphabetically as per usual. Kelvin, have you got any special people out there you want to say thank you to?
I think I'll shout out Hempus, Juno, obviously my team, and I don't know. That's it.
Cool. Demos. Any people you want to say to? Hi? Yes?
Shout out to Ace. He deserves it.
What actually happened to him?
Wow, that was pretty short.
That's drama. I want to hear it.
Pretty short shout out. All right, Dom, have you got anything to speak?
Shoutouts to Valve for really good updates.
Now, I know Beta is one of those rare producers that can speak to the audience during these sort of periods. Can you speak, Beta?
Yeah, but I'm kind of sick. So.
Oh, he's kind of sick. Oh.
Yeah, I will just say I'll update Fantasy and then I'm heading to bed. But that's all I have to say.
Alright, well, that just leaves me then, and I'm going to give a big shout out to you guys. Yes, you, Timmy, watching at home. You're the real reason we do this. Even though you're probably wondering why you're not watching Essentials right now, because look at them, they got 2K. Whew. Must be some hype games going on. But
probably slow games if it's 7. So I had a blast watching this. This was a really fun game.
Yeah, it was a really fun match, and I do want to give a big shout out to our two teams, Aura Electro and Rakuzan. Rakuzan will walk away with 5 ETF2L points, and Aura Electro will just gain the 1 point. But it was a tight game to watch nonetheless. I want a big shout out to those players in particular. The ones in our interview, it is Kelvin, it is Demos. Thank you guys for joining us into the interview segment. And that was it. That was our ETF2L Season 29 Premiership coverage of Week 5. I think that's all the games done for this week, so we should be heading into Week 6, coming past this Sunday now. And again, a big shout out to my co-caster Dum, who's been a wonderful analysis, just breaker downer of this entire game, and a big shout out to the sick man himself, the sick gamer, Beta, joining us on that production this evening. So I've been TurboTabs again, Dum on that co-cast, Beta on that production, Demos and Kelvin were in our interview. Then, yeah, that's it. That is our plugs, that is our YouTube, that is our everything. Teamfortress.tv, you want to find any of those extra things I've missed out. Until next time, guys, see you then.